The defense and the prosecution agreed that they would do closing arguments tomorrow and that they would just take the rest of the afternoon to kind of gather themselves and prepare themselves for tomorrow. Now, yesterday we heard the videos that were turned over by Waste Pro. Waste Pro is the employer of Jose, and well, apparently he forgot that his garbage truck had cameras, multiple cameras with audio. And he was planning with his nephew what he was going to do to Tania. And the fact that nobody was going to miss her. She was a stripper. She used to leave her son all the time with his mom, with her mom, gone for days. Nobody would miss her. Now, yesterday, because the conversations were in Spanish, the FBI provided a translator and they explained the process. The process that one translator listens to it and creates a draft, and the second person that listens to it, that's the final copy. What they state, what they kind of finalize is the legal document presented in court. The defense team was not happy with that translator. They questioned her and they said that the draft had a few discrepancies as to what she was stating was completely different. And she said, I understand that. I use that as a foundation. This is what I heard. And what I'm stating is the court document that is legalized. That's it. So today they brought a second interpreter. Her name is Rose Rosario. The state brought her and they pretty much went over the same video, and it's pretty much identical, just a few things that are a little off. However, the planning and what to do with her were the same. Now, I want to clarify that this translator also makes $95 an hour. Y'all know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get certified. Let's talk about what his statements were. So this was actually after her murder. This is the transcript that they're going over. And they bring up the fact that the person that you can hear the loudest is going to be the driver because that's the camera that was the closest. Now, this right here is Jose. Jose is saying, or actually the nephew goes, you don't have any messages or anything like that of hers online threatening her or something like that. And Jose goes, no, none of that. Then he says, you know why I showed my face? So that they don't assume. And they continue kind of going off tangent on different things. He said, you know what I need from you to keep me occupied, so I don't think. I was talking to a policeman, a friend of mine, about things like this. He says, not proof of anything. Like a revolver that leaves print. As soon as I walk in, she looks at me and she says something else, and the rest is inaudible. They continue kind of going back and forth about having to go to the house, grab something from the house. And then he even asked him specifically, he was like, hey, like, did she have any money? Like, did you check? And he was like, no, I didn't even check anything of hers. Then it seems like he's freaking out that he has to go to the house. He says, gotta go to my house right now. I gotta go get something. I'll see you at the house because I have 4 cartridges in bags on top of the pickup truck. And then he's like, okay, what are you going to do? And he said, well, I'm going to tell them that I left my wallet at home. And his nephew was like, you can't think too much. You can't be going back and forth. That's how you get caught. Then they continued. Some of the stuff was inaudible. So some of the stuff was mumbled. So they couldn't really translate it. He goes on to say, you know what I'm thinking, bro? I'm thinking about beer. And he's like, no, you can't. Like, you have to be calm. The nephew's telling him, it's fine. Did she have a purse with her? No. If they find her now, they can't do inaudible final because the mom hasn't been called. She is not missing yet on this side. They don't consider her as missing. So they would just put her in a box and they'll take her out. And since she disappears like that for a couple of days, no one is going to be looking for her. I already took 2 baths when I got to her house and I bathed this morning. I cleaned my hands with the cleaner, the one for breaks, because I had gloves and everything just in case. Then the nephew goes, did you see blood? Did you see anything? Yeah, I had it all over my clothes, but without evidence, they can't do anything. If something happens, no one saw the bag. And they continue kind of talking about the fact that he's in his work truck. They continue playing music, and it just continues on and on, kind of like a on and off. They would talk about lunch, then they'd all of a sudden go off on a tangent. The third witness, once again, is Christopher Newman. It's like his 3rd time. He was the lead investigator. And they asked him if during the course of investigation, did he learn the residence of where Jose Soto lived? He did. They got a warrant and they asked him, was a search warrant executed on the residence? Yes, it was on August 28th of 2018, just 4 days after her death. Did you find, Did you recover any clothes with blood on them? No, we did not. Did you recover any weapon with blood? No, we did not. That was all of his testimony. And then the next person is the previous supervisor. So his name is Adolfo Cobelli, and he was the operations manager at Waste Pro. He was the one that explained how many cameras were in the truck. He was the one that explained that the purpose of the cameras. And then also the fact that they were constantly checking the cameras just in case. He says sometimes they check them daily because if, someone called and said they didn't pick up my trash, he could verify that. They asked him if he was familiar with the trash route for Jose Soto. And he goes, yes, he was familiar. He's like, I can't tell you the exact location. However, it was North Pierce Road to Johnson Road, Russo Road. Keep in mind, Russo Road is where they found her body. They then asked him, were all of the employees aware that they were being recorded? He said, yes. All of the employees knew that in the vehicles there were cameras installed, and they had to acknowledge that they were being recorded both by audio and visual recordings. So they say, okay, did every employee who was assigned to one of those garbage trucks, they all had specific knowledge that they were being recorded and videotaped? Yes. So they ask him again, how do you know Jose Soto Escalera? He goes, well, he was an employee of mine, but also an acquaintance because I always ask them, about their families, how they're doing, all of that. And he said backing up to 2018, a few years, they had worked with Jose. He had actually left and ended up coming back as well. Now, what they then did was play the video clips, the sound, and he had to identify who was talking. Was it Jose or was it the nephew? And sure enough, he identified Jose as the main one speaking, the one you could hear the loudest because he was the driver. At this point, the state actually rested, and so did the defense. In fact, Jose Soto Escalera chose to not testify, and he had nobody on his behalf. They didn't even have any experts. At this point, what are we doing? Because they're not even trying to defend him. I'm just wondering if they're just trying to save his life so he doesn't get the death penalty. Tomorrow, we will have closing arguments. The jurors have received their instructions so they can quickly jump into closing arguments tomorrow. Talk to you soon.